So let's look at some logical PTO options for the Maple Leafs to at least push the other guys along in training camp. Josh Bailey, Zach Kassian, Jesse Puljujärvi, Tyler Mott. To me, it makes more sense, and I don't know if you would agree. And again, this has to be a perfect world because they don't have much to cook with in terms of cap, but they can invite guys to camp. I would look at the back end to add some depth to maybe outplay a Benoit or a Timmins and sneak their way on the team. So I'm looking at Ethan Bear. Mark Pesic is a guy who makes a lot of sense because he's got versatility. He can play up front and the back end. And then center-wise, like Dylan Gambrell, I guess on paper, Rosie, is the four-line C for this team. Played for Ottawa last year. He was okay. But there are some veterans who are available on the market that could make a lot of sense, especially come the Stanley Cup playoffs. Paul Stastny, Derek Brassard, Colin White's another guy. Guys like that. So what would you do in terms of PTOs here?
Yeah, all guys are interesting. Like some of those names that you see that are, a few years removed from, when they're the talk of the town type thing. But
Yeah.
it would depend on, you'd have to do your homework. You'd have to crunch the numbers and go deep into the situation that these players were in. Are they just getting older? Did they get kind of pushed out by the younger guys? Was there no room for them in the organization? Why are they unsigned free agents, and try to find a guy who's, you just kind of see the writing on the wall and how it happened. And you think there's some good hockey left in them. It costs you nothing to bring a guy on a professional tryout, come to camp, see what you can do, and, see if they can rattle some cages and open some eyes and see if they got some good hockey left in them. And, like you said, some of those guys you mentioned have been, pretty solid players, and they all bring different elements to the team. But to bring guys in on PTOs and give them a chance to earn their spot, it's nice to have at camp two guys like that who are going to be going absolutely balls out in training camp and in exhibition season. That's kind of contagious where, you look at this guy fighting for his life and fighting for his career. Other guys are going through the motions in exhibition game. Maybe it'll kick some guys in the ass to produce throughout that type of the season or that time of the season and maybe make it hard on the brass and the people that are going to pick the final roster. It doesn't cost you anything to do it.
I really want to see Bobby McMahon crack that roster at a training camp. We'll see. Like he had some flashes, in a short sample size last year. And I think if you can do that, then you can move a Lafferty up the middle and Gambrell is your last forward and he's your depth guy. And that makes more sense to me. But again, anything can play out in training camp. I don't mind the idea of like internal competition. It's something they preached in recent seasons for the Leafs. Just some guys to push in camp